Now we're back into IDFA. We're back into the big question and big impact. And we have our first panel of the day, which will be coming in now. We're featuring representatives from AppsFlyer, Helio Games, and AppQuantum, all moderated by AppFollow's Anna Kochetkova. I've almost got that right, almost certainly, which will be great. Anna, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. Hi, Chris. I'm great. You?
Yeah, I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I'm kind of, as usual, I'm surviving on not much sleep, but a lot of coffee. So I'm pretty pumped. But yes, I think your panelists, where about, remind us where you are in the world.
I'm basically located in Cyprus right now.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, there you go. I'm sure it's quite warm in Cyprus. Had a lovely break in Greece. I'll show some holiday snaps over the summer, and I'm definitely gonna, I've Cyprus on the list as well, so I might pop over there as holidays open up. Anyway, enough about my holiday plans and more about plans for dealing with the ever-changing, the ever-shifting, exciting world of changes in Apple's App Store and elsewhere. So I'm going to hand the reins to you, and I'm here in the background. I might come back at the end, but I'm going to let you introduce your wonderful panel, very of luminaries, and then run the chat. And if you need me, holla, I'll be here.
Sure. Thanks, Chris, and thanks for the introduction, and thank you, PG Connect, for having us today. Let me share my screen with the presentation. Yeah, here we go. So, hi everyone, and welcome to our panel session. Today we're going to discuss a very interesting topic, which is the IDFA effect on the user acquisition performance and some changes for the App Store optimization. And to do this, wonderful speakers have joined us today. So let me introduce them. First of all, we have here the Senior Partner Development at AppsFlyer, Idan. Idan, please, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks a lot. Thank you for the opportunity. It's great to be here. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm in charge at AppsFlyer for the relationship with our partners in North and South Europe, Africa, and Israel. I'm based in Israel, and as Chris was speaking about his holidays, so today we are actually celebrating the Sukkot holiday here. It's Sukkot Eve.
Too many holidays for Israel in September, actually.
Too many. Too little working days, but it's good. I appreciate it and I embrace it. So a quick intro into AppsFlyer and who we are as a business, right? AppsFlyer sits as the attribution authority in the space, right? And our mission is to help brands make good choices for their business and for their customers. AppsFlyer is fully unbiased, which puts us in a position that we have no conflict of interest. And that's ultimately why we are trusted by the market to make these decisions when it comes to mobile attribution performance. You can see here that we're backed up by the leading VCs in the world, have more than 1,000 employees. A lot of them were actually hired during the pandemic, where we saw the opportunity to hire more, mainly to our product and R&D teams. We operate across 19 offices worldwide, and according to some independent studies, we have more than 65% market share in this space. All of that helps us provide our advertisers, our partners, accurate, unbiased data, innovative solutions, of course, for these new arising challenges and insights, market trends, and top-line support. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for the intro, Idan. So let's move forward. Also today we have here Alexey, who is the user acquisition growth manager from AppQuantum. Alex, please.
Hello. Yeah, hello guys. You can call me just Alex. It's okay. I represent AppQuantum. We are a publishing team. Our team consists about 70 people. So yeah, we already succeed in many titles in many genres, such as time management or tycoons or miners. So in our portfolio, about like 15 and more games. And also, except publishing, we do co-development. We help to small teams to improve their games. So feel free to contact us, and we will help you with your game. Yeah.
Super, thanks. And we also have here the executive director of Helio Games, Pavel. Hi,
Hi
Pavel.
guys. Hi guys. So I think I'm the only one who doesn't want to share the services to anyone else. So we're independent game development company located in Cyprus. So we live with Anna in the same city at the end of the day. So company is 4 years old. We have 2 hardcore mobile titles, Westland Survival and Mutiny Pirates RPG. So these are quite. The Westland is an older game and it's quite successful. And I'm here to, to share the pain of those who need, more better user attribution, segmentation, targeting, etc. So what else to add here? So we have 80 people in our team located in 2 countries, and one of the things I put on the slide as well is we're one of the very few game companies who put machine learning driven monetization as a key point of our core monetization cycle. So and succeed with it. Basically, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks for the intro. And actually, yeah, machine driven monetization model is really exciting, and I hope we can touch it partly today. And let me introduce myself, the last but not the least. My name is Anna, and I'm head of mobile growth consulting department at AppFollow. For those who probably don't know familiar what AppFollow is, we are a Helsinki-based app management platform for app monitoring and review processing. So we are actually creating a one-window solution for the whole app teams to cover both market analysis, store performance analysis, features for app owners and product owners and marketers, of course. And we also have lots of features regarding the reputation management, which basically is the working with reviews in the stores. So that's pretty it for the intro, and I guess it's the right time to start. One thing for the audience, guys, please, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them inside the Q&A section. We'll definitely cover them either during our discussion or at the end in the Q&A section. I guess we will have a couple of minutes to do this. So to start with, let me give a brief recap of on the topic. So since the release of iOS 14.5, which has happened on this April, Apple introduced a big new privacy framework called App Tracking Transparency, which is actually ATT for short. From that moment, all devices running on iOS 14.5 and above was required mobile app publishers to ask for users permission for tracking and accessing the device identifiers, which such as like IDFA. So it caused a huge resonance in the industry as soon as it's supposed to touch almost everyone, like mobile app publishers and developers, the MMP platforms, and like so on. So everyone was guessing what will happen after this policy will be implemented. And actually, the most common forecasts and expectation there was that during that time was, first of all, many marketers were predicting the allocation of all budgets that are used for the App Store applications promotions to the Apple Search Ads channel, following the idea that Apple will definitely introduce some significant changes and improvements of these user acquisition stores. The second main opinion was that the Web2 app promotion will take the leadership inside the user acquisition process inside all app teams. And the third most common thing was that, unfortunately, the user acquisition performance is supposed to significantly drop as soon as less knowledge for the users and for your audience will most probably cause the less user campaigns accuracy. So such metrics as ROI, ROAS pretend to dramatically drop. So those are some expectations that was, on the market. And today we will cover those expectations, whether they match reality or not. And before going to switch our topic to the user acquisition performance changes, let us start our conversation with this really important question: what actually happened inside the attribution mechanisms and what algorithms are currently used in the market? So, Idan, what solution was introduced to the market during these changes?
Okay, thanks, Anna, for the question. Yeah, we share the feedbacks and concerns, exactly as you mentioned. I'll take a little bit recap, like the mobile ecosystem, right? It sits in the midst of an ever-shifting landscape, right? Over the past 2 decades, mobile has evolved significantly. We all see it, but however, in the last 3 years, we have witnessed the pace of change even accelerating. Most notable is the marked increase of changes around privacy and in the way data is being shared and consumed. Right now, despite these massive changes, mobile is still booming. And the question is iOS 14 different? 14.5 or now iOS 15, is it different? Or is it yet another change that we're going to successfully overcome? And there's really no politically right way to say that, but mastering SCAD network and conversion value is a nightmare. Yeah, here I said it. Now, we've invested much of the last 15 months educating ourselves, our customers, and the market about SCAN. We focused a lot of our attention on helping advertisers learn the bits and bytes about the bits and bytes, right? And to complicate things even further, SCAN, by design, limits advertisers' ability to measure post-install activity. Now, we've worked closely with hundreds of the most advanced advertisers across different industries to understand how they are planning to utilize conversion values and what sort of capabilities they are currently missing. And one thing was clear: mastering conversion values has been challenging even for the savviest of advertisers. And it really comes as no surprise that the #1 feature request has been to provide a flexible conversion value mapping tool. And since the announcement that you mentioned, there have been 75 product releases around. And the one I'd like to mention here is what we launched earlier this month, which is called the Convergence Studio. And what is a Convergence Studio? It's a flexible conversion value tool that allows advertisers to customize and measure multiple post-install KPIs. Now, let's break it into 4 very simple areas. Now with Conversion Studios, advertisers are no longer limited to measure only one metric. What does it mean? For example, a gaming app. You're a gaming app. You can now measure game progress, let's say in-app revenue and ad revenue all together, okay? That's #1. #2, we're extending the timer. Without diving deep into the details, I can share that advertisers can now measure beyond the given limited 24-hour activity window. We can also provide them to measure flexible ranges. For example, to say level 1 to 3 and not measuring only one level as it was up to now. And I think that the most important thing that Conversion Studio is also giving is to measure a funnel, which is really about measuring smarter. Advertisers can now measure a sequence of events to get a bigger picture on how users are behaving, and they can do it in the most efficient way, right? To measure with the least bits and bytes to optimize it. And that's a huge step towards SCAN measurability and simplicity, but we are far from done. And I think everyone here will agree with me. It actually feels like it's just the beginning, and there's more features to come, more updates, more products, but it feels like we're in a good place to provide some clarity to the ecosystem at this time. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. This Convergence Studio sounds as a really exciting feature. As soon as, yeah, this is, as far as I understood, this is a brand new thing that you just like plan to deliver, or is it live already?
It is live since beginning of September.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. I hope that everyone like will be able to at least try it, because like it sounds like it will have more data. And yeah, speaking of this, thanks Idan for such a detailed recap of like these solution methods and like how it's the process is working on right now. The good point to move is that continuing these changes, and of course the attribution models are not that accurate probably. It's a very interesting question whether the user acquisition performance became better or worse considering these things. So Alex, how do you think, like, what are the changes after those, like, I guess, 14.5 implementation in terms of user acquisition, like sources, volumes inside the AppQuantum. So like what issues you're tackling, like what happens inside your company?
Yeah, thanks, Anna, for the question. I mean, I would like to continue Idan's speech that we already tried such features from AppsFlyer. So I really appreciate and would like to say thank you to the AppsFlyer team. They did a great job. And so we see, I mean, it definitely helped us to measure SCAD users. So yeah, in terms of user acquisition, so it will not be like a revelation that our focus shifted to Android. And what about like iOS? Before 14.5, we used, I mean, we only focused on self-reported networks such as Facebook, Google, or Snapchat. After implementation of 14.5 and other version of iOS, so we decided mostly focus on probabilistic attribution sources networks. So especially it was a good, like not like good period, it was a good chance to deep dive into new sources to try something new. So and probabilistic attribution, like probabilistic sources, it was a help to us to keep same spend or increase spend on some of the titles. Yes. What about like I would like to say more a little bit about probabilistic attribution, considering iOS 15. As you know, they release private relay feature in iOS 15. By default, it's off, but we will see what will happen with performance on probabilistic attribution sources. Yeah. So like in general, like our effective spend is increased, and we had a chance to deep dive into new sources, and like all the team, analysis team and product team, so they just more focused on product, and yeah.
And
this is
actually, yeah, thanks for the comment. And actually, like following up your speech, can I ask you like what are these new sources? Because like we have also this question in the chat. So yeah, can you share if it's possible, of course.
Yeah, yeah, sure, no worries. DSP networks such as Moloko, for example, Applavin or Unity. So yeah.
Those are like the other DSP or like some actually like solutions that's it's not that, I mean like the direct traffic channels is just like the companies who are acquiring the traffic. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, I would like to add a few points here. So the first thing Alex mentioned, Unity. Unity has no IDFA issues, if you don't know that. And that can be very usefully used for those who love that traffic. So from our perspective as a hardcore game producer, production studio, so we tried Apple Search S for sure, because it was a clear approach and we got really bad results, so we stopped that. So nothing changed there at the moment. And before Apple would introduce or not introduce, it's not clear yet, their own traffic platform within the ecosystem, I think we will stop for that now. So as Alex mentioned, we see many companies distribute their volumes to Android. It results in increasing CPIs there for sure, and that leaves a room in iOS for those who don't need, who has broad targeting, and that's who benefits most from the current situation. So as from our point of, from our business perspective, our volumes drop down, especially taking into consideration that Facebook algorithm changed late spring and make it more difficult to target users, and again it had bigger impact on more hardcore products rather than the casual or hyper casual for sure. So we suffer from that. So Facebook now is pretty tough topic, and we redistribute most of the volumes to Google Ads. So that's it, I think.
Yeah, I have a little bit more about like Facebook and other networks. So web to app, like sending people to the landing page, it can be a solution as well. So you can use a feature from AppsFlyer, one link smart script. So it's yeah, it can.
You mean smart banners, that solution?
No. Okay, let's keep it. I mean, let's keep it that feature. So I would say like there is another method how you can acquire users by using landing pages. On that landing page, you can just not like just a second, like keep all the information from users and track them on the AppsFlyer.
Idan, probably you know the proper name of the solution you have for that?
Yeah, Alex is referring to deep linking. And I wanted to say, first of all, that I really appreciate the feedback, and it's great to hear. And I can see also from the questions in the chat that there's many more questions around attribution and challenges, which I'll be happy also to assist with. I can also say that regarding what Pavel just mentioned, we also see the trend that Pavel mentioned about the drop. But I do want to bring the positive part into that as well. That we see in the last month, the overall spend in iOS apps rise in 8%, right? So we've seen like the in-app purchases revenue rise 8%, and it even surpassed the pre-ATT enforcement days, right? In the US, for example, there has been 23% jump in overall consumer spend since the end of July. So it is challenging, but we see the industry going in more of a confident way.
Yeah, sure. It's actually a very nice insight. Do you have like any thoughts why maybe haven't probably the seasoning theme, or like what's or just like basically the people started to understand how to acquire users in this new reality? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
So I think there's a lot of unclarity, right, in the market, a lot of unclarity, and people are trying to like try new things, and we can see it also across different verticals. Right? We can see, for example, if I'm looking at it, I can see that in the past several weeks, the share of iOS in-app installs among hyper-casual games increased by 15%, right? And in the US, casual games also experienced around 10%. But core games, like on the other hand, mid-core and hardcore, saw a 10% decline in the share of iOS in total apps. So
That's what I told you.
Yeah, so exactly. So there's different kind of trends, and everyone will agree like that there's unclarity and more features and more things are coming, and I hope that will bring more clarity and numbers to rise.
Okay, that's actually an interesting thing. And like following this topic regarding like summarizing that the thing that we just mentioned, guys, like there was allocation of budget to Android, and actually the overall volumes of traffic a bit decreased. But if we're speaking in terms of the metrics and KPIs, are there any insights, like what probably some new metrics appeared in terms of like these new changes, or like performance-wise, what happened with the KPIs, like the main ones? Pavel, will you the ones to start?
Yeah. Let me start. The first to start with, I made a poll among many medium and bigger size game development company, and most of them experience lesser ROAS figures than it was before. So those who need better targeting, they start losing money or getting less money than it was. I think Idan has some data for that for sure. If he will share that, it will be good. So for the new metrics, since neither scan or SCAD is working as expected in our case, it's not a common thing, but in our case it's not that good. So we went towards pretty traditional analytics. So we added a few metrics we measure on a regular basis, like consent percentage, and then really get a deeper insight into other cohorts we don't know about is like non-IDFA payment capacity multiplier. Like it's not secret that those who press no normally are smarter ones. So, and they have more money and they have bigger payment capacity. So, and we should making predictions, prediction LTV, ROAS, and etc. So we should take it into consideration. Plus, non-consent players also have some other multipliers depending on the country. So it's really not a simple question that it's like 50%. Those who press no pays 50% more. No, it's different depending on country to country. But adding this mechanism, this analytics, allows us to how to say to refresh and restart and actually increase the volumes on iOS. And this is the approach I would recommend to those who cannot use the industrial solutions for whatever reasons.
That sounds really like a nice insight, but a very complicated one in terms of like how many like what are the job positions who are working on this model? I mean, like the analytics or
yeah, it's first of all it's analytics. So it's I mean the key thing is you need to predict the revenue. You have your costs. That's not a problem. You need to predict the revenue, and you should do it as precise as possible. So any model which helps you to get the cohort revenue at the moment, the actual revenue is necessary for the UA team. So, and this is definitely a job for analytics department, not for UA or product or something like that.
That's also an interesting thing that this knowledge and like actually the attributes was shifted from the user acquisition team to analytics, and actually this is a very common trend that we also see inside our customers teams and stuff. Alex, you definitely wanted to add something?
Yes. I mean, on our side, we definitely have like a little bit different situation. Our genres of game is different, and the metrics of first 3 or 7 days is ROAS or like much higher than on games such as RPG or banners. So and what I can tell, like we already could work with day 1 metrics or day 0. So yes, it was challenge for us as well, but I guess we didn't had such a struggle like like game developers from RPG genre had. So, but what I can advise, like what I can say, like keep track and set what the metrics on day 0 if you would like to work with the SCAD. On RPG genre or like on other genres where you have pretty big LTV. So I would say like let's take some events on day 0 which depend on your ROAS, on your targets. So and just track that event on day 0, and probably it can help you to predict and develop curve model, prediction model.
Yeah, but I guess it's like this is a nice advice, but definitely suits not for all genre like game genres as well as mid-core and hardcore games. Day 0 basically means nothing for them, and they still have these issues. But like a very final question, like in terms of like this part of the topic, no one actually mentioned the Apple search chats, and I know that for games it's actually like one of them. For some of the games, it's one of the most like important in terms of the volumes. Traffic channel. Like, were there any changes in like in terms of the Apple search ads campaigns?
Yeah, move on, Pavel.
Actually, Anna, I told you we tried Apple search ads, no success. I wouldn't say there was a difference between the experience we made in the past before the IDFA era. So nothing changed there, in my opinion.
Interesting.
What about our side? I mean, we just try. I mean, it can be like first months when we're trying Apple search ads. So there is, there is no news.
Okay, then, if anyone from the audience has like any other experience, like let's share in the chat. And moving forward, like we already discussed like these things, and there was also there were some questions in the chat section, and I also have this thing in my mind, like we already have like these changes, and what are the next step for the attribution, and what will be the next challenges for it, and how potentially we can solve them. There's like the person in the chat is asking, probably it will somehow connect to the ad fraud features improvement. So Idan, how do you think, like what will be like these changes and how you will tackle them?
Yeah, thanks, Anna, and thank you for the chat. I see a lot of questions about challenges and attribution, and I'll try to put like something very general. Okay, so let's take like a quick trip down the memory lane to June 23rd, 2020, when Apple introduced the iOS 14 updates, right? Everyone across the ecosystem began asking the same questions, right? To some, we already have answers. They were asking, one, is CAD network going to be a good way to measure marketing efforts or not? The answer is really both, so far. They asked, and Pavel mentioned it, what would be the opt-in rate what would be the opt-in rate for the APP, for the advanced privacy, the tracking transparency for the pop-ups? Like no one knew. We can see now that it's much higher than expected. It's around 45%. And another question that everyone asked, like if most users won't opt in anyway, right? Why should I even bother showing the ATT pop-up on my app? And the answer is because this sample of sets of users, right, will help us answer many questions about the full set of users. That's like answer that we have so far, but all of these were legitimate questions back then. But over time, it became evident that the most critical concern, and I can see it here in the chat also, is how can I consolidate all the siloed data sources into one single source of truth? And it's challenging because just quickly giving the challenge, other than SCAD network, there are, Alex mentioned different attribution methods such as ID matching, aggregated advanced privacy, probabilistic modeling. Each one of them has its advantages and disadvantages, right? So in theory, you could just choose your model and based on your specific needs and you'll get attribution. But in reality, that's not possible. And the reason is that SCAD network, the data is anonymized and there's no entity that can know if the same conversions were attributed also by other models. By the way, it's also goes in reverse. So without going into the technical aspects, it looks like, and I'm saying it very slightly, that the problem might be solved. And by leveraging the Convergence Studio that I mentioned earlier, we are able now to offer advertisers to deduplicate and create unified reality, a single source of truth across different attribution sources to provide the clarity. Now, this way advertisers could maximize all the advantages, right, of each attribution model without compromising, and that's very important, on the end user privacy. Now, many of asking what's the risk, what's the cons? It will require to allocate 1 out of the 6 bits, which is a very pricey resource, right? Making the conversion value a bit more limited. But the bottom line, having 100% certainty in the true result of the marketing effort is mission critical, right? And doing that with the scan remaining fully covered and accurate means that no one is affected, right? And just to sum up, I believe that in this time, which is full of changes, it's super important, it's even crucial that accuracy and user privacy continue to coexist. So that's my take on attribution at this time.
Yeah, wonderful. Actually, like I have nothing to add. It's like super overwhelming answer. Yeah, I actually like following your ideas, so I agree with it. And like actually about these further changes, how do you think what we can expect in future in terms of I don't know, like changes in the UA, like the further one, not in the attribution side, but also for the product teams, like what changes we may expect? Pavel, Alex, how do you think, like for your in your company's perspective?
Let me start, I think, with this question. I like it. I like to talk about the future. So, in my opinion, the digital privacy trend is very strong, and it will continue for next few years for sure. So, I expect that it's not. It's a common knowledge that Google will do the same thing like Apple did at the end of the year, if I'm correct. So, I expect that non-third-party companies would have granular data anymore in the very near future. So the only consumer of this kind of data would be government authorities. For you know where we live in. So this is the reality. This is the world. So I would say, to sum it up, like in midterm, less than a year, the granularity targeting will disappear at all. No, it won't be available anymore. So that's for sure. Again, is a big threat for all applications that requires precise targeting. So that would be very hard time for any kinds of products like this, and leaving the room for quite broader products. That's what I think. And also one point to mention here, because it will affect let's say market structure at the end of the day. So the battle royale between Epic and Apple, so is happening now, and it's very likely that the Facebook would be one of the biggest how to say it, beneficiary of the result. that's how I feel it. So the prices net will go up, and this is the main source of the company income. So, but on the other side, the gaming industry will also benefit from it, because the more portion of the revenue will be granted to the gaming industry, the more would be how to say it, reinvested in the advertisement, giving more how to say it, leading to more higher bids with the same ROAS, and and games industry will consume part of the marketplaces, the physical goods selling apps, and the service apps, which will not get any benefit out of this happening battle, I would say. So that's what I see in the nearest future. 1 year.
Actually, like super nice points, and like following the point that you just mentioned regarding this granularity, and then think that probably in the future we won't have this data anymore, for sure, considering the Google privacy-oriented policy that is, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months time decision of implementing. So I like the phrase that someone told me, that before the user acquisition managers take the sniper wings to shoot and find the veils, and now we took the shotgun, and just like this is perfectly, from my opinion, describes like this new reality that we have in terms of the user acquisition campaign structure. And actually, I like that you mentioned that that fight between Apple and Epic, because despite the things that like if we just like ignore that this is the Apple, but the thing is that we are the witnesses of something huge that is happening now. Actually, a good thing is here to ask like whether they will implement these third-party payment solutions. Idan, how do you think, like, will AppsFlyer will track all these payments, and like whether will be there any like difficulties for you to track this actually?
Yeah, so just to continue what Pavel has mentioned, I also like there's no question Google will follow Apple's way, and the way is going from, you mentioned sniper to shotgun. It's going from device level to aggregated level, and all adjustments should be done that way. There will be much more solutions in the market. There will be much measurement, but to turn the wheel back to what it used to be, that won't happen. If you're asking me if it's good or worse, it's not. That's the reality, and the reality is that we're going to a more privacy-centric approach. And Pavel said a few years, I think that's thing to go, right? That's how the world would look like, and we would have to find the ways to help the brands allocate the budget in the right way by having not a very narrow device level, but really more of an aggregated view on their different activities.
Nice. Yeah. Alex, do you want to add something here?
I guess guys already told like I mean, I totally agree with them. So yeah, Google already on that path to the privacy things. So, but like I would say that it's I believe that it's affect not on like on mobile acquiring users, on web as well. For example, like they can create PCM as like Google can create PCM private click measurement as well. So and we will see only on a high level attribution like campaign level or like geo level. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean totally agree.
Mhm. Great. So guys, we also are a bit running out of time, and I actually have like last question for you. So let me just like share my screen back for the content details. So guys, we have actually lots of questions inside the Q&A part. So for our audience, if you still have anything to ask, please feel free to connect us. And Idan, Alex, and Pavel, if you have just one magical wish for the Apple and Google, what would you wish for anyone to change or to introduce for them? What would be your suggestions here?
Let me start again. So
Yeah, sure.
I would love to see detailed app ranking algorithm. I mean, most so the bigger companies probably know it, how it works roughly, but it would be lovely to see the details.
You really
That's my
request a
wish.
lot. That's
Yeah, I know
really
it's
the whole
impossible.
market.
It's impossible, but I would love to.
Yeah, and very nice. I definitely would say the same. Idan, Alex, what would be your wishes for that?
I wish go back to the past time. But like seriously, I mean, I wish to be SCAD and future Google thing be more flexible. Be more flexible, and advertisers could set all the like or delete all the timers what they have. Yeah. I mean, more flexible, flexible feature.
Nice. Idan?
Yeah, so first, let me thank you, Anna, for this great panel and hosting. It was amazing. And you know, on top of this holiday spirit, I mean, I'll make a wish. And you know, my wish is really that Google, once they start implementing the more privacy-centric approach and add new features, is to involve as many people from the ecosystem, to hear comments, to hear concerns, to hear different kind of approaches, and based on that, make the decisions. But I believe that transparency is a key factor to make people engage and succeed also with these kind of changes.
Very nice. And I, you know, guys, why I'm asking, because a couple of years ago, I still have the same wish. I was wishing that Apple will introduce their A/B testing solution for the creators, etc. So this year, or probably the early beginning of the next year, it will finally happen. So I hope that your wishes also will happen, like probably in the next year or someone else. So just like I want to thank you as well for this informative and super fruitful discussion. I hope everyone liked it. And once again, thank you, PG Connect, for having us today. It was a pleasure to be here. Hope that next year we will meet offline.
Yeah,
Thank
indeed.
you, guys.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
I thought it was incredible. I've been been gripped with this. I have to say, I don't think you're going to get your wish about Apple rolling back to the last year. But everything else, I'm hoping comes true. It certainly keeps us living in interesting times. But thank you guys so much for that. It was really, really good to see some open, frank debate about issues which affect all of us in the industry. But I wish you I hope it's a profitable and exciting Q4 for you, whatever system we're working under. And thanks so much for lending us your time today. So there's loads of questions in the panel in the Q&A. So guys, if you've got a question you didn't get answered, because quite a lot did get covered, please reach out to Pavel or Idan or Anna or Alexey, and I'm sure they'll do their best to help you one way or another. I'm now going to send you into the digital ether. Thank you so much, and a great job. Thank you, and great job marshalling these difficult guys.